Coming up on Up at Noon, the Nintendo Switch is out and people are shoving some weird stuff in that dock. We got an actual dairy farmer to milk a cow in 1-2 Switch, and the director of Resident Evil 7 plays a bunch of spooky puzzles that we invented. All that and more right now on Up at Noon Live. Hey! Greetings and salutations, and welcome to Up at Noon.
Yeah.
They tried to stop us, but we're back. Another week on the run. I'm Max Scoville, this is Brian Altano.
Hey guys.
Up at Noon is a show that we do every week, and it's about all kinds of stuff. This week is especially weird. We've got kind of a real grab bag of just fun stuff to talk about. The show is it's a mixed bag of junk food, nonsense, pop culture, you know, whatchamacallits, and you can watch us on every possible streaming platform. That includes IGN.com, YouTube.com/IGN, Twitch.tv/IGN, Facebook.com/IGN, Periscope apparently, as well as the IGN apps on Xbox, PS4, Roku, Apple TV.
I lost fingers.
Yeah, anyway, so those are all the ways you can watch us, so why aren't you watching us? Anyway, if you have any questions or comments, the fastest way to get our attention is using the hashtag UpAtNoon on Twitter.
That's right.
And,
It was good. It was good.
this week we're sponsored by my lungs, which allow me to breathe the air. This has been a great week.
Yeah, this has been really awesome. It's been a great week to be just a human being on planet Earth. It's been a great week to be a nerd. We got this new toy last Friday. Some of us did with shipping issues and stuff like that. I eventually got mine. You eventually got yours. All of that was sorted out. I want to give a quick shout out to Jared Petty for coming through in the clutch on a Friday night and being like, I have an extra one.
I want to give a quick shout out to Destin Legary for selling me his extra Switch so that I could give it to my fiance and she'd stop being mad at me for not letting her play Zelda. I'm not joking. That's a thing that happened. I own 2 Switches, or my family does.
So
adults can't share. Whoops.
Absolutely not. So the Nintendo Switch has been out for a week. Hopefully you've tried it by now, either at a Best Buy or a store, or you've got one for yourself and you're playing it at home, or you're just sort of watching this whole thing unfold. Many people are saying, and I agree, that I think Nintendo really got it right this time in terms of the R&D. The UI is really cool. Yeah. Obviously, a week in, being there at launch, you sort of feel like a product tester when you buy something early on.
Yeah, especially with Nintendo.
Yeah.
They have the habit of being like kind of, erasing a sentence or two, or, rolling back, or adding something very soon. But yeah, it's numbers-wise, this is the fastest-selling Nintendo console in history. Like,
yeah,
I can't even get it
really
out.
Well.
That feels like an unnatural sentence to say in 2017.
Sounds like a Wii U is a thing of the past. So now you've been playing your Nintendo Switch for a week, and you probably love a lot of stuff about it, but you probably don't love some stuff about it too. And in case you want to arm yourself with a good list of those things, we put that together for you today. So here are 20 things we love and hate about Nintendo Switch, starting with we love the controllers. These controllers are great. Let's take a look at some of them. The configurations here are awesome. You've got the Pro Controller, the Joy-Cons, the Joy-Con grip, the charging grip. They work as independent controllers on their own. The Pro Controller works for 70 hours. However, we hate that some people are still having Joy-Con connectivity issues. We thought this would get fixed with a patch. Apparently it's helped some people. I'm not running into stuff as much as I was earlier, but it's still happening with some people. Anecdotally, some people are saying it's the neon ones are having more problems. Other people are saying the gray ones. It's a problem.
All right.
We love that we finally got a Nintendo handheld with a multi-touch screen. It's gorgeous.
Yeah,
it's
beautiful.
We've gotten 3DSs in the past, DSs in the past, Wii U's in the past, all with touch screens.
Yeah.
Nothing like this.
But the funny thing is, I kind of forget that it's a capacitive multi-touch screen because we've been playing Zelda and that has no features that use it.
Which we hate. That's very stupid. We love clicking the little Joy-Cons into place. They feel really nice. These Joy-Con straps are cool. They sort of add an extra element to it.
They're not cool. They're not cool. They're
okay. They work.
They work. They're nice, but they're not cool.
This is the love. It says love in the
Okay,
corner.
fine. I just want to say they're not cool.
We hate these little things because they always get stuck.
Also, that's one of those processes you just feel like you're going to break your new toy.
Yes.
Like it doesn't. The snapping them on feels great. Snapping them off, you're like, am I gonna ruin this?
I had to watch a YouTube tutorial on how to get one of these things off, which is not good. We love that this thing supports up to 2 terabyte SD cards. Right now I have a 256 gig in there. 2 terabyte SD cards haven't really even been invented yet. Like they're real, but they're not out there. But one day
you had to use regular SD cards because
multiply
micro
it by
SD cards don't actually exist. So that's kind of cool to see it future-proofed in that sense. Also, I mean, You've got your 3DS that's just full of old Nintendo games.
Yep.
You're gonna fill this thing up, so that's awesome.
So that being said, I hate that you can't actually transfer data from your Switch to the SD card, because I didn't put an SD card in there to begin with, downloaded a bunch of stuff to the internal hard drive, and I can't carry them over. You also can't use your SD card from system to system. So in case you have two systems or whatever it is, I mean, those are edge cases, but still.
Also, like save files and things like that, it'd be cool to back that all up.
I love that you can access any region's eShop right now. I went into the Japanese eShop. I built an account through My Nintendo. Took about 5 minutes, and I downloaded a bunch of demos. Puyo Tetris and a bunch of other things. It's really cool. You can play Master Blaster and Metal Slug, all these other games early. But I hate that when you buy something on the eShop, you have to re-enter your credit card every single time. On the 3DS, you could assign a PIN and basically never have to really deal with it again. But this thing, every single time you have to do it again. You also can't really buy stuff on foreign eShops with ease without getting points cards. So you'll have to set up a Japanese Amazon account to do all that.
Man, I feel really bad for this cardholder fellow. His information has been compromised.
Yeah, his
Avert your eyes. The screen is covered with personal information.
I love the simple and minimalist user interface. The UI is great. It's clicky. It's smart. It's sharp and fast. It's very, very different than something like the 3DS or the Wii U, which felt clunky and slow.
It doesn't have little men walking all over it.
Yeah, this is just great. It's really clean. I really like it. I hate that when you dock it to a TV, the interface is 720p.
Yeah.
Why?
That seems very odd. That's a very odd choice.
Games are running between 900p and 1080p, so I don't really understand why the UI itself is 720. Doesn't look great on a new TV.
Well, I mean, JPEGs are pretty high profile. They use a lot of resources, so they got to kind of dull this down.
Yes, very true. I love that it's getting cool, smaller indie games like Puyo Puyo Tetris and Rhyme. Hard to say those words because they sound fake, because they are. That said, for some reason, there's a sort of Switch tax that we're seeing with certain games. Rhyme and Puyo Tetris both were announced at $39.99 instead of $29.99, which is kind of ridiculous. Now, the digital versions in some cases are cheaper, but the physical versions, which you might want if you're a collector, are more expensive than they are on PS4. Why? No one knows. Hard to even explain.
Yeah.
Keep going. We love that connecting to a Wi-Fi feels a little quicker, a little easier. The 3DS had a major problem where you'd bring it on a trip or a hotel. You couldn't actually connect to anything. Seems a little bit better now. We hate the fact that people are having massive Wi-Fi issues with it regardless. Someone like Andrew Goldfarb, who works here in a couple of the Switch units here at IGN, were actually not really capable of connecting at all unless the dock was hardwired.
Weird.
Which is very odd.
That's very strange.
Also, most people aren't getting more than 1 or 2 bars on it, which I think is definitely a problem. I love that gorgeous games like Zelda on this beautiful screen are just phenomenal. It's seriously one of the prettiest things I've ever played. You've probably got a nicer screen on your phone, but it doesn't have controls on the side, and it doesn't have Zelda. It probably has like Legend of Zelda or some bootleg garbage like that. Yeah, don't bother with that. That being said, I hate that when you dock this thing to a TV, it starts getting frame rate hookups, especially in Zelda.
Yeah, it's kind of odd to be like, hey, it's a great new console you can take anywhere, but when you use it like an actual console, it actually performs worse. That's very strange.
Last but not least, I love switching between handheld mode and console mode. Max, you and I took a trip the other day where we got to fly a bunch in one day, and one of our flights got delayed, and we sat around playing Zelda all day. Then I brought it home, hooked it up to my TV when the batteries were about to die, and kept going.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's pretty much exactly what this thing was designed for.
When you're hooking it up to your TV, you gotta be really careful.
Yeah.
Because people are scratching them up on the dock that came included with the product.
Yeah,
so,
which makes no sense. That's an R&D design that I think, or that's a R&D design is redundant. Yeah. But it's a design flaw, right? Like the fact that putting the thing into the thing scratches the thing, that's being highly technical right there.
Yes, that's what they says in the patent.
It says, don't put the thing in the thing, it'll scratch the thing. It's definitely a problem. So 1 week in, right here, Brian and Max, for Nintendo Switch. I really, really love this thing.
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic, and I can't wait to see how it grows. I think that the shop is going to grow. I think the UI is going to grow. The library is going to grow. This thing's going to change and evolve.
And the fact that I think a lot of both consumers and publishers and just really everybody are kind of holding their breath to see how it was going to perform in the wild, and the fact that it is the fastest selling Nintendo piece of hardware that's awesome. It's taken off. That means that there's probably going to be a massive kind of opening of floodgates of third-party support and indie support and everything coming soon. I don't know if it's going to be immediate, but at the very least, I'm sure Nintendo will have stuff to show off at E3.
It's a good time.
So I'm happy with my Switch.
That's our little report card 1 weekend. How did you do that?
Wow.
That's so cool.
That's a massive lie.
I was gonna say it doesn't
Yeah.
have any video apps on it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Here's one of the weird features. When you wiggle the Switch around, the picture floats away. Horrible thing. The sync issues are way off.
So that's our week 1 report card for the Nintendo Switch. Obviously, we really like it, and there's some problems with it too. Tell us what you think about it. Use the hashtag #UpAtNoon. Communicate with us. Now let's get into some nitty-gritty stuff here. The Nintendo Switch dock, right, comes included with every Switch. We've got one right here. Really cool little design, a little peculiar. It's expensive and it's doesn't really do a whole lot.
Yeah, it's funny because it's not like anything to do with the hardware. I remember when this was first revealed, we're like, oh, is the processor in there? Is it like one of those like weird external like graphics cards you see with PCs? It's not. There's a little bit of heating stuff and some plugs and things, but it feels a lot like the early 3DS's dock that you'd put it down flat and those little vampire teeth would pop up and charge it.
Yep. It also has, if you look at it compared to like the Wii U dock, which basically was just like a tablet angle thing.
With those weird wheels on it.
This one's a little different. Now, it's kind of cozy. It's very odd that the design is based on this thing where you can basically, if you want to pop it in there very carefully.
Very carefully. No, I was kidding. We're just going to jam this in there as hard as we can because this isn't our Switch.
Yeah, so let's explain why Max is doing this so carefully. A lot of users are noting that the Nintendo Switch is actually scratching the screen of the Switch itself because the dock, in some instances, is angled weird. Now, that could be a heat thing, something that happens during shipping or manufacturing.
Yeah, and you look at how it's lined up there. What's in there? There's like, there's the USB-C port, and there's a couple like weird little lumps and things, kind of an odd Lego brick.
This is not the first time we've seen something like this from Nintendo. The DS's back in the day, when you closed them, would actually scratch themselves on the inside. Hinges would break. Weird little things happen like this all the time. If you look at the iPhones, same thing. The iPhone 6, I believe, was pulling people's hair out when they were on the phone. Holding it a certain way made it block. Not my problem, I know. Holding it a certain way made it actually block cellular service. So it's pretty interesting. Now, solutions. Right off the bat, if you're looking to buy a second dock from Nintendo's official online store, you actually can't right now because they've sort of halted or paused or possibly even recalled production on these things.
No, it seems odd. Maybe it's a supply issue, or maybe they're like, back to the drawing board, let's put a piece of felt in there.
Yeah.
So
what some people are doing, it's funny you mentioned that, is now solution number 1, obviously screen protectors. I don't generally like to put them on my devices. I think that like to sort of value and appreciate the appearance of a device and the design of it is interesting. On phones, maybe if you're dropping them in the wild, it makes more sense.
Sure. Well, key difference being that iPhone, most tablets, it's a glass screen.
Yeah.
This is a plastic screen, so it can be scratched. Yeah. It'd be really nice if this was Gorilla Glass or something, but it's still a Nintendo toy.
Yep.
Can
we pull up that picture real quick? Right here, the one on Max's laptop. I just want to show you guys. So this is basically what's happening. It's not really hitting the screen itself. It's getting right around the edge. But it's noticeable, and this thing's been out a week, and you deserve better than that. So here's what people are doing. They're taking this dock, and
they're just filling it with hand lotion.
Yeah.
Just a whole big handful of Vaseline. Just
definitely don't do that. They are putting felt pads inside it. You can get those off Amazon. That's sort of easing the transition from handheld mode to dock mode. They're also shoving books in there to stretch it out, so the angle will sort of lean out a little bit more.
That's like, I don't think Ray Bradbury really anticipated that. They're like, burning books, Fahrenheit 451, maybe. What about jamming them inside a video game console?
I've read stories of other people who are actually just hard cutting the top of that thing off because you don't necessarily need it. There's actually no tech in the front of that.
Yeah, that seems like a really odd choice design-wise because... Yep. I mean, I guess it's to keep it from falling flat, but I'm surprised we didn't get a more diagonal thing, kind of like the Wii U dock. It just kind of lets it support itself.
Now, here's the thing with screen protectors. Some of them are actually starting to bubble up inside the Switch itself. I know, it's like a problem created a problem. So you want to probably get a tempered glass one. They're like 2 for $10. They're kind of on back order right now. So while you're waiting for this thing to get fixed, your Nintendo Switch actually shipped with like this little sort of white plasticky sleeve. It's very soft. You can just cut off the bottom of it, slide it right over this thing. It kind of looks like a condom. It's not, I'll be totally honest with you, it's not a good look. But it solves the situation.
Sorry.
It solves the situation for right now, and hopefully Nintendo can address this and this will get fixed down the line. So that's where we are, week 1. The dock is fighting the Switch console. So, they are not getting along well.
If you want a more like just an organic, natural approach too, you could just get a little bit of peanut butter and line it with that, and then put some birdseed along the top of it. And get some cotton, old shirts, and tuck it in there and put it in your yard. And a family of squirrels will make a nest inside there, and then they'll protect your Switch.
They'll make it real soft. That's true.
Yeah, Nintendo always does make very cute hardware.
Speaking of Nintendo hardware, if you're owning your Switch right now, you're probably playing tons and tons of Zelda. But there's some other really cool games on there, stuff like Snipper Clips, which we'll play later, Metal Slug, which just launched today. But one of the cooler ones is a 1-2 Switch, a really weird ensemble of bizarre mini games. And I think the weirdest one in there, and that's saying a lot, is Milk. It's a cow milking video game.
I just got that feeling you get when somebody wants to go through party photos from the night before. Here's me and Brian playing Milk the Cows with each other.
Hey everyone, it's Brian and Max, and today we're playing Milk, America's favorite 1-2 Switch game about yanking on those old bags and getting the cream out.
Yeah, tugging those big turts, just jamming on that hog and getting the fluid straight into the cups.
So this is a very special Let's Play. You and I are going to play Milk against each other. We're going to see who can get the most milk.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, we're going to interview an actual dairy farmer on our set
A true milker.
to see how real this actually is.
Yeah. Do you know? Are we doing this?
Yeah, we're doing it.
All right.
Ready?
We got to look at each other, right?
I love cream. I like to have lots of cream.
I
Delicious. Oh.
Get the milk out of those thighs.
I like to go to the farm.
Get the milk, get the milk, get the milk.
You can't sing. It says look each other in the eyes, not look each other in the voice.
I don't know how much of this cream I'm getting out of this
Don't
thing.
forget to move
This
your
I could
sick
look,
animal.
but that would be cheating. I don't know if that is actually cheating. It's actually uncomfortable for the cow
I
in
gotta
those
give it
dairy
a real
farms.
deep yank. Oh yeah. Get those arms.
You gotta tug that creamy thickness right out of that big
I'm
old
very
bag.
excited. We're going to talk to a real dairy farmer about how much the cows love this.
Let's
Yeah.
win. Thanks
All right.
for your help.
Wow, I lost
You
like
got
a
skills.
damn idiot. You want to go again?
So I got 7 cups of the old sick animal's juice.
They say look each other in the eyes, but it shows you on the screen what's going on there.
Yeah, but that's for other people to watch the milk. You can't look at your own milk.
All right, you want to try again? Look at each other again?
Yeah,
All right.
milking's always
Do you
better
do,
with
so do
others.
you do like a full grip?
Don't ask me for my techniques.
I kind of do like a little dolphin paw. You know.
Pressing the buttons from bottom to top won't get the job done. All right,
Milk.
Whatever that means.
milk.
Milk. It does the body's stuff. All right.
Face
Ready?
each other and get ready.
All right, one more. So
Hold
really
your
treat this like a
Joy-Con
real
and press
cow.
the SL and SR buttons. Ready?
Hit me.
Milk. Look at your hands as you milk. Once the milk starts coming out, make sure to squeeze thoroughly.
I think you won
Focus
this
on
one.
pressing the buttons from top
I'm just
to bottom.
really just trying to get into the cow's personal
Don't forget to
space.
use your Joy-Con
Are you
up
squeezing on
and
those
down.
turts?
Just get the liquid out of
You
it.
gotta really yank on those
Just
creamers.
get that big old the nice the cream.
Just give a good deep tug on those ruds.
It's such an incredible new piece of hardware that you can do that with.
This is a great
Let's
portable
win.
gaming system you can bring everywhere.
Thanks for your help.
How the
You actually got less
skills.
cream
how am I
than earlier.
sucking so bad at getting the cream out?
You know what? Your cow might be sick. Maybe he's not eating enough of the good grass out there in the field.
Somebody poisoned the water hole.
Well, anyway, that's Milk on 1-2 Switch on Nintendo Switch, available right now. We think it's really realistic, but we don't know anything about farming, dairy, cows, or milks.
I don't know what this says about me as a man.
So we're going to interview an actual dairy farmer right now and
Yeah.
find out how real this is. Let's take a look.
I wonder if his palms are supple.
And we're back. How's it going? I don't know. I wasn't sure if you're going to leave with this one.
Oh, no, let's do it.
So we're joined by Nevin, who you're an actual farmer.
I am.
You work in an actual dairy farm with
Yeah.
real life cows, not like these weird Nintendo cows.
Right.
You just got to play 1-2 Switch with the milk game for the first time.
did.
Just obvious question: how does it compare?
You know, I was surprised how accurate it is. In fact, the motion from top to bottom, obviously exaggerated.
Yeah.
This is a weird.
Because I mean, this would be the longest teat on a
Yeah,
cow
that
there
cow
ever
would
was.
not,
Right,
not be
right.
happy.
That would
I
not be a happy.
But the
happy
actual
cow.
the finger motion, is it kind of
It's
accurate?
kind of similar. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So.
Now you did
Yeah.
really well, I heard. Like
Yeah.
you just play with our Snapchat team, and you got something like 17 cups of milk,
Yeah,
which is
that's
I think
right.
more than I've seen anyone get.
So yeah, no, it took a couple times, but then it's like riding a bike, just milking
Yeah,
a cow.
milking a
So-
cow. Yeah. So I'm curious. Like obviously it's 2017. There have been a lot of technological advances. We can now virtually milk cows, but do you guys still do it manually, or is it
Right.
more-
So we'll go through and like prime the cow and
Okay.
by hand and get
Really?
her
Okay.
ready.
Okay.
So there's hormones naturally occurring in her body. The main one is oxytocin. Takes 52 seconds after stimulation to get her to release the oxytocin and let her milk down. You can't just take it from her. She
Okay.
has to let it down.
Okay.
Are they cool with that?
Yeah, they're
Like-
totally cool with that. Like
Okay.
our heifers, our younger cows, they're a little skeptical going into the barn for the first
Right.
time. But once they get used to it, they'll actually be at the gate waiting to come in. They love
They're
to
like, you got to
milk.
get this milk out of me.
Yeah, you know, they're releasing all that weight off of them. They feel good after.
So now, from there, it gets hooked up to an actual machine?
Yeah, so we have these milking machines. After we stimulate them and get them ready, then we'll attach these machines. And there's these rubber inflations inside. And we have a vacuum pump and a pulsator that has the same motion that you
Okay.
would with your hand.
Did they know like the difference between your like? Is it like a transition where you're like, my hand's here, the machine's here? She has no idea. I'm walking away.
So, you know, I would think the cow would know the difference, obviously. You know, being that all four are attached, because with your hand you can only milk two. But yeah, so all four would be attached, and then they alternate to give her a break
so
on.
they don't have a second where
on
like,
each.
does that guy have 4 hands?
Yeah.
So on average,
They-
how
they
much,
look over,
like
yeah.
in kind of one session? I don't know what the term is there with the cow. Like
Yeah.
how much milk comes out?
Yeah, so like we milk our cows twice a day. That's
Okay.
on the farm. And we'll average 9 gallons between the two. So like
Oh, wow.
4.5 gallons
Okay.
per time, yeah.
Okay.
I should have asked you to bring us some milk
Definitely, yeah, some good raw milk from
next
the farm.
time. Bring
yeah.
us some good raw milk.
All right.
So the interesting thing is, so obviously this is a video game based on milking, and your real life involves a lot of tech. Isn't it odd? Because I think the old idea of like a farmer is that he or she is out there to get away from phones and to get away from tech. And
Very old school. you
Yeah.
know. It still has that element for sure, and that I do like that aspect of it. But to stay up with the times, you know, we need to have good technology to make things efficient. So I have programs like, because we feed our cows, it's called a total mix ration.
Okay.
We mix all these ingredients. We have a nutritionist come out, and they balance these rations to perfect her diet. So we mix 12 to 15 ingredients in a big wagon. It mixes it up. But I have a program that monitors the weights that were entered in, just so I know it's perfectly accurate.
You've got like a just like stats basically.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just-
stats
is it-
on
yeah.
the accuracy of
How much ammo you have in your cow food gun, pretty
Right,
much. Okay.
exactly.
basically
yeah.
you're sort of playing a video game too.
Sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like we use a big front end loader tractor to load the wagon,
Yeah.
and it has a joystick.
Oh, wow.
To control the bucket.
Okay.
So you have your steering wheel and your joystick, and then there's 3 buttons: forward, reverse, and neutral. So it really is like
wow.
a video. It's like a giant real life video
So
game.
that's so
Yeah.
funny because I feel like you know, with gaming and stuff, there's that you think video games and there's that like stereotypical image. There's like that stock photo of like the controller and the bleep bloop noises and everything.
Mm-hmm.
In the farming community, if you show them something like this, are they like, oh god, this is totally not what we do? Like this big straw hat? Is it kind of
Right at first, the music.
Okay.
Do you remember the music on
Yeah,
the game?
yeah.
I was like, this is offensive, but
like
this is not cowpoke music.
I think they assume that like you're just constantly listening to like there's like 5 guys with banjos around you.
Right,
at any given
right.
moment.
I mean, to be
Yeah.
fair, that's probably what Japanese farmers listen to. I don't know. The game's made by a bunch of weird dudes in Tokyo.
Right,
so.
yeah.
So what was your immediate reaction when you first saw this game? Were you like, cool, they're making a game based on my job?
Yeah,
or-
I thought it was really cool, kind of flattering, like
Yeah.
that people care enough about where the products come from and just exposing people to
Yeah.
milking a cow,
Yeah.
like how it is.
I do love
very
your
dramatic.
explanation of it being like just a really long teat.
Because I mean, in reality, you're.
It's just like two
right.
little-
You kind of
yeah.
roll the fingers. And,
Yeah. Oh, is that what it is? You do
yeah,
like-
you kind of roll
do
the
like a
fingers.
roll
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's great. We have so much video footage
Good
now.
to know,
of
yeah.
all of us doing that. So, did you grow up playing video games? Do you get a chance to play video games now?
Oh yeah, I grew up on the GameCube.
Oh,
for
nice.
Sure. Yeah, definitely.
Awesome, man.
But so, I still like video games, but most of my time's on the farm.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah. Have you gotten a chance to check out any of the farming simulator games that they've made?
No.
Because that's the weird
like-
thing is on the flip side of like the very kind of like simplified, goofy, stereotypical like milk the cow. There's also an entire community of very realistic simulations of like trying
Oh,
to.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
think like Farmville meets SimCity, just like turn up to 11.
Right,
It's
oh,
like you
yeah.
got to adjust the tire pressure in your tractor and stuff like that. And,
Right,
get
right.
your-
That's pretty neat. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like after a long day on the farm, it's like the last game you'd want to play is to go home and just
Go
like,
home, milk virtual cows
Yeah,
again.
can I simulate that thing I was doing at work all day? Yeah, that'd be very tough. So you don't get a ton of time to play video games now, but I think so. I'll run through some of the stereotypes so that I know of farming, and you can tell me how wrong they are.
Okay.
Number one, you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning.
No.
What time?
5.
5?
5. Yeah.
Still pretty early.
Yeah. I mean, I get up at like 6, so
Yeah.
I'd be like a bad
Yeah,
farmer.
and yet you host a show called Up at Noon, you charlatan.
I'm a liar. Number two, how many hats do you wear? And I don't mean like metaphorically. Like, do you physically have to wear a cowboy hat the entire time?
Literally a hat. That's
Yeah.
kind of a ball cap, but I've got a stack of them, and I
Oh,
change
really?
them out. Oh yeah. No, so I've got a stack of ball caps.
Is that a
And-
thing or like a look cool thing?
I think it's one of those stereotypical farmer things. Just
Yeah.
everyone wears that.
I was because you have the flannel shirt and you have the. I don't know if you want to. If you can
I
see
have
the
the-
belt
I have the
buckle.
belt buckle.
Yeah, there it is.
So,
There-
yeah.
Got those cool boy cows that are always jumping around on there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
So do you fight ride bulls or any of
No,
that
no.
stuff? Any of the dangerous stuff?
I had an uncle that was really into the rodeo circuit, so this is his belt buckle.
Got it. That's
so
awesome.
team roping is
Yeah.
what this is for. Yeah.
So, like, is this one of the things you're just like, this is what I love. I want to do this forever.
Oh, definitely.
That's
We've
so cool.
been in the business for over 80 years now.
And how old are you?
20.
So you're 20 years old and you've got it figured out already.
Yeah.
That sounds, that
yeah,
sounds
farmer
awesome.
sounds
yeah.
awesome. Like you're like, oh, dude, I'm 20. You're like, I started this job when I was 29. Like I was like, I'm gonna be a fine artist in New York City and get in the gallery scene. Like
Yeah.
I don't know what we're doing.
Yeah.
You're 20 and you're like, no, the farm's great. It's good
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah.
What are your sort of recommendations or suggestions for somebody who wants to sort of quit the city life and start working on a farm?
Yeah, I mean, there's a whole host of job opportunities in the farming community. Not only there on the farm, that's where a lot of people start. But like, I went to college for dairy science, and you kind of work your way up through the farming community. But at the end of the day, there is just the good old-fashioned manual labor.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
everybody, that's just a good thing. But aside from that, there's sales, marketing.
Yeah, and I mean, imagine programming apps for cow feeding and
Definitely,
stuff.
definitely. Yeah, some of our tractors are automated
That's
on
nuts.
driving. Yeah, on the GPS. It's crazy.
Okay.
So cool.
Yeah.
But you can be a veterinarian, all sorts of things.
Yeah. Well, cool. Where can people find out more about what you do?
You can go to the CMAB's website.
You have a website?
Yeah. And actually, my farm has a Facebook page.
Oh, man, that's awesome.
So
Give
the
it a
Lockwood,
shout out.
Farms
the
of the
Lockwood
future.
3 Dairy Facebook page.
There it is.
All right.
Can people buy your milk? That's a weird sentence. I'm sorry.
We ship to a creamery.
Okay.
So we're just bulk.
Oh, awesome.
We ship 4,400 gallons a day.
What?
Wow.
Just about, yeah.
That's a
So-
That's a lot of milk.
And
a lot of
we're
cows.
somewhat of a small, just family farm.
Yeah.
But it's still a lot of milk.
Awesome.
That's great.
Well, Nevin, thank you so much for
Yeah,
giving us.
Thanks
this
for having
awesome.
me.
This is
It's been a pleasure.
fascinating.
I can tell why you did so well on Switch. That is a firm
great
ass
hint.
handshake.
Thank
You got
you.
these like dainty like video game wrists there.
Milk's is gonna start coming out of our mouths now.
Yeah, so 1-2 Switch is all about shifting gears and switching real suddenly. So on that note, here's the director of Resident Evil 7 playing some puzzles that we invented. This is a weird show. Let's take a look.
Hey everyone, it's Brian and Max from Up at Noon, and today we've got Ted and Mr. Nakanishi-san, the director of Resident Evil 7. Now, Resident Evil 7 is full of puzzles, many of which you and your colleagues have designed, but we actually decided to make a few puzzles of our own today.
Yeah, and they're scary puzzles. Actually, the most terrifying puzzles you'll ever see.
So we bought a bunch of children's puzzles from Amazon and made them real spooky. And to solve each one, you will actually win a prize, one of 3 keys, and the third key will unlock a special treasure.
Yeah.
So let's start with the first puzzle. It's based on a house.
Yeah, so here's the house. It's a spooky old house, and as you can see, there's this is it completed. But if you open up the doors, there's different rooms in there. Who's in the garage? Oh no! So let's see how quickly you can.
So we'll need you to solve this puzzle, the door too.
I didn't put.
Yeah, that's you. Okay, so we're going for the roof first. The upstairs.
The bathroom puzzle.
Full of monsters. Don't worry about the spiders. Okay, so the entire upstairs is assembled in record time. Mr. Nakanishi, you're doing really good. The front door is on, so now the monsters can't get in or out. They're trapped inside.
Yes.
Okay, we are
we go.
complete.
Great.
We are complete. Congratulations, you have won. It already broke. The scorpion key.
All right.
All right, you got your first key. Now you're able
next
to get
up-
through the house with your first key. Perfect. That broke too. All right, next. Snakes.
There's
have
a
always
bunch of critters in here.
Snakes have always been a major part.
Somebody broke all the snake eggs, so you've got to reassemble the snake eggs, which have been put in different pieces.
卵が壊れたので。
卵を作るのね。
Doing very good so far. 2 eggs. Watch out for the cobwebs. They're very gross.
Yeah. If
And
these
wet.
were real snakes, this would be very unsafe. But luckily, they're fake snakes.
That's a cockroach. That's a bloody rat.
すごいぜひゲームでも採用。
That's it. All the
All
eggs are
right.
done.
Beautiful.
They are complete.
手にいっぱい作るこれも。
My hands are all dirty now.
You're used to that. Okay, so
Yay.
here you got the snake
Thank
key. 2 keys are down. We're
Oh,
ready to
okay.
go. Okay, now we have one of the hardest puzzles yet. This is the dog.
Okay,
Now,
okay.
lots of blood.
Scary.
Now, in Resident Evil
Okay.
7, there are no zombie dogs, but in some of the older Resident Evil games there are. If you can do this,
火が塗ってるので。
if you can solve this, you will get the 3rd key and you will defeat the game.
Yes, and you'll be allowed to leave our house.
本当にちょっと難しいねこれ。
Okay, so this is not an easy one, especially because there's maggots
Yeah.
that you need to watch out for.
Terrifying spider.
There's a spider in there. I believe there's a newt. Yep.
Yeah.
There's a newt.
There's a different. Well,
No, that's actually glued to it.
okay.
Okay. This looks good. We've got
Oh,
3 feet. Now we just need the back of his head. His
大
brain.
体合ってるもん。
His body is all set, but his brain has exploded.
まだ脳みそが。
あこれね。あこれ分かれてんだ。
All right.
Did we do it?
It's a dog.
We did it! We did
There.
it! We did the dog!
The complete dog. It's very, very gross.
You win the 3rd key, the crow key,
Yes.
the worst of the keys.
すごいなこれ。
Now, Mr. Nakanishi, you have now solved all 3 puzzles, so we have a prize for you.
3つのパズルを解きましたので、プライズがあります。
It's your body parts
Hooray!
that you had to cut off earlier in the game.
会いたかった。
Oh, I finally get to meet you.
Well, guys,
work.
thank you so much for doing our show
こ
today.
れ日本で放送できないかもね。
You probably won't be able to broadcast this in Japan now.
Really? Is that so?
We can blur
No,
it
we
out.
can just tape it back on. It's okay.
テープして、
モザイク。
モザイクして。
Well, guys, from Capcom and Resident Evil 7, Mr. Nakanishi and Ted, thank you guys so much for coming. Max, thank you for helping me make these horrible, horrible puzzles.
Yeah. These prizes cost an arm and a leg.
And for more Resident Evil 7 and stupid puzzles like this, IGN is the place to be. We're covered in bugs and dead animals.
And welcome back.
Good to see you.
Real quick before we get into the rest of this nightmare show, Mark Snodden's watching, and he says his kids Sophie and Harry in Belfast, Northern Ireland, are watching for the first time.
That's awesome.
Hey, Sophie and Harry, thanks
Hi,
for coming
guys.
in.
Thanks for watching.
Yeah, I hope that last segment wasn't too spooky for you.
Do me a favor, Sophie and Harry. Go into the other room, get your dad's wallet, and bring it back because you're going to need it with this next segment we're about to do right now. Here are some awesome Zelda toys.
Wait, hold on. Can I do this?
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild is one of the best games we've
There it
played
is.
in ages, and we want to buy toys based on it. Unfortunately, there are not really a ton of them out there yet.
Not
so
yet, yeah.
that is, that being said, there are a lot of Zelda toys out there, so we thought we'd show off some of the ones that you can get.
Yeah, right off the bat, let's go with one of the biggest ones, probably the biggest Link out there. This thing is awesome. This is the 20-inch deluxe Link figure. You can find it on Amazon. We actually stole this from Zach Ryan's
you can
desk.
probably find these on at Target, Walmart,
Yeah.
big box stores. It comes in a big box. This is by Jakks Pacific. They also do these, Star Wars toys in the same scale. This one's pretty cool. He's got nice bendy arms. I think they even make one that's bigger, that's like 4 feet tall. So
Wow.
if you want to take Link into bed with you or on car trips and ride the carpool lane, I don't know what you do with toys, but
Yeah.
you can do those things with them.
Now this is obviously based off the Skyward Sword model, so it's a little different than the stuff you see in Breath of the Wild. But there have been many links all throughout time, and we're bringing them all together today. Next, let's talk about some Figmas.
Yeah.
Big fan of these guys.
So Figmas are one of the many gorgeous lines of toys coming out of Japan. Zelda's been doing a handful of them. They got other Nintendo stuff too. They have a Twilight Princess one on the way, but currently there is a Skyward Sword one. There is an what is this? Between Two Worlds version.
Yeah, Link Between Worlds.
They also have, I think they have Majora's Mask, or not Majora's, yeah, they do have Majora's Mask, do they?
No, not yet.
Do they have Ocarina? They got a bunch of them. They don't have Breath of the Wild. I feel like we'll probably see one, in pretty short time.
Yep.
But in the meantime, it's Link, You're going to be buying armor and stuff
Now, a bunch
anyway.
of these, you can actually get deluxe versions of them as well. They go for about $35, fully articulate, really cool. They come with tons of accessories. I got the deluxe version of this. We actually unboxed it on the show a couple months back. It comes with like little rupees and bombs and all sorts of...
His hat's articulate.
Yeah,
I love that.
Is articulate.
They look like weirdos. They look like, yeah. Anyway, another great line from Japan is, of course, Nendoroid. We've talked about them on the show before. They make everything in this line, pretty much. They do have a Breath of the Wild one on the way that comes with a little horse. Here's a Wind Waker one.
What I love about the Wind Waker one is it actually has different faces you can swap in. So you can have that kind of cute Link, the sneaking
they all have
Link.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're it's wonderful. I like just the kind of nonsense accessories.
Yep.
Like a heart isn't really a fun accessory, but it totally fits the, fits the
Next,
line.
we've got the Medicom Ultra Detail Link figure. These are really cool. They're like $10, and it's based on my favorite Link design ever, which is the sort of promotional artwork that went with the original Legend of Zelda way back in the 80s. Breath of the Wild is sort of evoking a lot of the same sort of art direction and feel that game gave us. You can actually unlock this costume using Amiibo in that game.
They haven't made an
Super
amiibo
excited
of this
for
guy
that.
yet, have they? Though.
No, not
You
yet.
can do like a little. You can look up his skirt. That's
You could
weird.
probably,
I feel bad for doing
bash that yourself.
Speaking of amiibo, that is one of the few Breath of the Wild things out there in the wild right now. These are just a couple of the Breath of the Wild ones. Speaking of looking up skirts, there's that.
Look at that.
There's that Bokoblin bum.
Look at those thunder cheeks.
Look at that. He's a weird little breakdancer.
Oh, wow, that's great.
Coolest thing about amiibo, and I've been sort of like, casually watching the amiibo thing from a distance, being like, yeah, not really for me. And then I got Zelda, and then I realized that, by, just doing that once a day, I get piles of meat in my game. And if it's a Zelda amiibo, you get chests too, which give you a chance to get, I don't know, these particular hats and cloaks and whatnot.
Now these are all on Amazon. The weird thing about the Zelda amiibos that is instead of being $11.99 or $12.99, they're actually about $15 or $16.
I think they're actually kind of improving the quality too.
Yes, I agree.
There's also the Guardian one that comes with like weird bendy arms. It's kind of insane.
Yep.
I feel like they're very much kind of pushing the direction of Amiibo, being like, let's get them bigger. Let's make them have action features and whatnot.
Yep, and finally we've got this. This is the first 4 figures Breath of the Wild statue. Not necessarily a toy or a figure, but cool nonetheless. Really, really gorgeous. You're probably going to want this on your desk. I think the art on this thing is great. The paint is great. The fact that this is like an actual...
they've done a handful of Zelda stuff too. They got a Wind Waker one out there. I think they have more Breath of the Wild ones on the way.
Yeah.
I want to say they've got a replica of the Sheikah Slate.
The Wind Waker one is actually really cool because he's in his like red dragon boat.
Yeah.
Now, really interesting thing about this toy that Max and I were discussing the other day, quick tangent, is I bought this before the game came out because I really connected with the design. I love Link, I love Zelda, I love the whole art direction of the series. But I'm not wearing this costume in the game.
Right?
Which is very odd because I think we're heading in a direction where if you're playing games like Destiny or Zelda or Fallout, anything that's fully customizable, and you want to buy some toys based on it, you're not really going to get your toy.
Yeah,
your
that's
guy,
kind of
your girl, your
kind of an
character.
ongoing thing. We've been seeing this for a while with RPGs and games that really have heavy character customization. But like you think Dovahkiin, you probably think a Nord wearing iron armor with that same horn hat.
Yeah.
But in reality, you're probably running around with like way cooler armor. You get that armor like an hour into the game, sooner than that. Same with Zelda. And this is the first game where that's really happened.
Yeah.
There's always that kind of like down the road you get like, oh, it's the the Goron tunic or whatever. But like, yeah, that's nuts. It's the same kind of deal with Metal Gear Solid 5. Obviously, the earliest toys from that were like Snake and his kind of he's got the scarf and he's got the goggles, and then they started releasing like, oh, you're at the end game. You've developed a whole bunch of cool armor and costumes and stuff. I wonder if we're going to start seeing that with Breath of the Wild as well, where maybe he gets the what is it, the Hylian armor or something? Like, which is, I've got that stupid bandana on right now that makes me look like Bret Michaels.
Yeah,
and
that's
I
not a good
hate it,
look.
but it helps me climb rocks. I don't want a toy with that hat on, but I mean,
No.
I don't think I'll ever look like this in the game. It's kind of funny to think about it.
So this is some awesome stuff you can buy for Breath of the Wild right now and Zelda in general. Last but not least, honorary mention to this weird boy right here. This is Tingle. This is a plushie. They go for like 10, 15 bucks. This is
Please take that off the screen. Please stop showing it to the camera or we'll be flagged. Please stop doing that. This is only for Bokoblin Bottoms.
This is actually a game. This is a game spoiler.
Here's an exclusive.
He puts that right on there.
Yeah, you saw it here first.
Yep.
Anyway, I don't know why they gave us a show. Yeah, so Nintendo Switch. Stop. People are gonna think our stream froze. I honestly think when you make that face, people are like,
Oh, can we do that again?
Stop. Stop it. Anyway, so we've all been playing Zelda nonstop, obviously. There is one other game that you should also be playing. You should have it for when you have friends over and you have to stop playing Zelda because it's rude to play Zelda when someone else can't play, and it's called Snipper Clips. Check out this game right now. It's awesome.
Hey boys and girls, it's Brian and Max from Up at Noon, and it's time for Snipper Clips.
Yeah, we're gonna cut ourselves.
Now everyone's playing Zelda on their Nintendo Switch, and that's awesome because it's one of the best video games ever made. But if you're not playing Snipper Clips, you are straight up sleeping on one of the best games on the system. This thing is a really good time.
Yeah, it's like 20 bucks. It's on the eShop. What do we want to play? Want to play Crane Game? Firefly Hacker?
Sure.
You've played more of this than I have. Actually, this is the first time opening this.
Yeah, so let's start with something basic. We can fly through a few. Another purpose of this game is that basically there's two characters, each controlled by one of us, and we can cut each other into pieces.
Cut me. Oh God, you killed me.
Yep. We can jump. We can squat. We can
want you to
also
cut me.
rotate.
Right.
So, and we want to fill in these dotted lines, but that's only part of the puzzle. So you actually have a lot more. Here, hold on. If you want to give me rotate, give me a good
I'm doing
snip.
it. I'm the yellow one for the record.
Cut my babby out.
Cut that necktie off. It's a casual part. Look at me. I'm like a weird dude hiding under a house.
Move over a little bit. You're very okay. You
that
look
it?
like a sick man right now.
I am a sick man.
Okay, hold on. Now I'm gonna do the same for you. You go to that spot. I got an idea. No, over here. It's over here, this way.
What,
This
like
way.
that?
No, the other way. No, not like that, Eggman. Come on over here.
What?
Yes. No, the way I was. Rotate into the thing. And
What?
get over in the dotted damn line. Get to the...
What, like that?
Max, you are like a
Where do you want me to go?
Learning disability.
Where do you want me to
right
go?
Here.
Right there, like where I started to go. Okay.
Yes. And stop. Now don't move. All right, I'm gonna give you a little snip right out of your big gun. Oh, he's got like a little tickle going there. But don't rotate.
I was gonna do it.
Get out of here. Just stay where you are.
Why do you want to be on top?
It's not the top. You're the top.
Why do you want to be on the bottom?
Why is it not working?
You're such a.
Rotate. Get it there.
Oh, it's a toucan.
Made a sick bird. Look at that.
Cool.
He's very ill.
Yeah, so this is one of those games that is definitely going to have you.
Fighting with people.
Yeah, I want to play this one, Hamster Helper.
Okay.
How
let's
much
get those sick
innuendo
Kirby's into the...
is loaded into the Switch? We got 1-2 Switch where you're doing that, and then you got this game where you're like, get on top of me, baby,
You know
big boy.
This level used to be called Richard Gere's Friday Night Adventure.
Yeah, that was implied.
The worst rumor ever started.
Oh, criminal crickets. We gotta go down there.
Now I got an idea. All right, so check this out. Don't move. Don't move. I'm gonna turn you into
hamster ramster?
into the world's coolest ram. Stop. There we go. Okay.
I think I like it.
I'm getting in there.
I think I like it a lot.
You ready? Duck. Oh, get him. Oh.
We got it. That hamster pull us out of there. Yeah. Good work.
Oh, yeah. Best friend brothers cutters.
That hamster looks like a very bad thing. I don't know what that is. It's
Get
a
back
weird,
in your house.
sick little pink bean.
All right, so that's 2 down. You want to do some basketball?
What about the balloony popper?
Okay, let's do that with that butt.
Balloon burster. God, why did they say burster? They should have said popper.
Butt fumbler. Oh, look at these baby pigs.
Ah, the old knuckle dusters.
Okay.
So what, we're just...
Oh, so we got...
Oh, this is going to be great. Hold on.
Here, hold on. I'm going to make you into a real sharp...
Sharpen me up, buddy.
Attack. Ready?
You get that edge on there.
Sharp blade. There we go. Look at that. That's weak. You got to really pop in there. Jump. Oh, there we go. Here, I'm going to get you up over here.
I'm a knife.
Get on top. Jump on the... Yeah! Okay. Now this, we might need a hook for this one. You get up here, you weird banana.
I'm a very sick dude.
Okay,
I
hold
see
on.
what we need. Okay. So what? Like a hook?
Here, turn me into like a... Yeah. No, that's not even close close enough. That's the most baby hook.
Hold on.
Keep going. Keep snipping.
Hold on.
What's up, Snipper Clips?
Oh.
It's your boy Snoop Dogg. What are you making me into, like a comb? Oh, that's beautiful. Oh, hold on.
That might work.
We lost a little bit of an
Also,
edge
we
there.
did it backwards, I think. Here, hold on.
Can you rotate so I get your flat belly?
Yeah, just jam yourself on
I don't want to jump in that spire.
Jump on my horn.
No! Rotate. Sick dude. Okay, hold on. Oh, look at that nose. You look like a little needle boy.
Get on my body.
This is not gonna work.
We need to use our sicknesses together to harness the balloon.
I look like a ruptured kidney. Oh, I'm bringing him down. Oh, okay. Can you snip the other side of my eggplant so I look here? Cut me
What are you
cool.
saying?
Cut me a good hook on my left side. There we
What's
go.
that?
Oh! Oh, I'm hooking. No. Hold on. Come
Yeah.
back for it. Got it. Got it. Got
Let's
it.
kill it. Let's kill the bee.
I'm bringing it.
Hold on. Let's stab it right in the
Get
behind.
with your little mosquito mouth.
This
Get him.
game is just
Get
really
him.
filthy.
Get him in the face.
Yeah! All right, so that's Snipper Clips. If you're comfortable with your sexuality and shapes, this is a game for you.
Do you want to go inside my horn?
Ooh. Hold on.
When two shapes love each other
Oh
very
God,
much.
I'm becoming engorged.
Anyway, that's Snipper Clips.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.
Just another knife fight down at the yard. Oh look, I gave you little bangs.
So that's Snipper Clips. Grand old time. Seriously, like if you've got a Switch and Zelda and 20 extra bucks, spend the 20 extra bucks on Snipper Clips. And
Yeah,
just hang out of that. That's one thing I really love about this is it's a portable system, but it's also social, which we've never had before.
Yeah.
You know, like you can do like kind of local multiplayer on 3DS and Vita and everything, but like it's the first time you've been able to like I suggested, to my fiance, like, hey, let's go to a bar and play Snipper Clips. And she's like, I don't know what you're saying to me. Those aren't words. And I'm like, well, I have it on my Switch. You can stop playing Zelda for a second. That's a cool thing. Another cool thing about the Switch is if you put the Joy-Cons in like that, it kind of looks like Wolverine. Take a look. Look at that. Hey, Bub, it's me, the Weapon X. Okay, so that's not true. That was actually a really just stupid segue. Logan came out last weekend in addition to the Switch. I fell down this crazy rabbit hole of just kind of what ifs with the X-Men movies. I read this long interview with David Hayter, who wrote the movie and also incidentally played Solid Snake in Metal Gear Solid. There was a lot of casting that almost happened in the X-Men first movie. Not the X-Men, it was called just X-Men.
Oh, do tell.
Yes. So everyone knows Hugh Jackman is Logan, Wolverine. That's his iconic role. That was his breakthrough role. It was huge. Weird thing is, he almost wasn't. They'd actually cast this dude, Doug Ray Scott, who played the bad guy in Mission Impossible 2. They were 3 weeks into filming X-Men when Hugh Jackman got cast. Doug Ray Scott was in a motorcycle accident while filming MI2, so they were like, I guess we'll call up Hugh Jackman. He's our backup plan. There were a bunch of other people who were actually considered for the role. Most notably, Mel Gibson apparently was such a contender to play Wolverine that in early concept art, it all looks like him. And you can kind of see where they're going with that. Like, he did crazy stuff in Lethal Weapon. Wolverine is kind of a lethal weapon, just, with claws rather than guns.
It's a great picture, too. You could just Photoshop claws onto his hand.
Yeah, right? He's even wearing, like, the Wolverine jacket, pretty much.
Yeah.
Also, Aaron Eckhart, which seems kind of odd. He played Harvey Two-Face in Dark Knight, but he was just kind of bumming around. He was in Aaron Brockovich a few years later, which he played a nice biker with cool sideburns, which kind of makes sense, like, what that character would be like. Can't really imagine him being, like, a proper badass tough guy like Wolverine.
It's actually like actively difficult to picture anybody other than Hugh Jackman at this point.
Yeah, no,
I'm
seriously.
starting to entertain the idea of it, but man.
There you go. Then of course there was Russell Crowe.
What?
Who would have also, I think, made a pretty good Wolverine.
Yes.
He's kind of this angry, scruffy man who's weirdly enough also Australian. I guess they were considering a lot of Australians for the role, even though Wolverine's Canadian. I don't know. And then there was Viggo Mortensen. I've always said that Viggo Mortensen is typecast as an outdoorsman. He's Aragorn. He's Captain Fantastic. He's the dude in the road. He's just always this guy who's scruffy and out in the wild. It's just kind of his thing. He's Hidalgo. He's that horseman who goes out in the wild. So that would have made sense, but instead he went off and did Lord of the Rings or whatever. Jean-Claude Van Damme. Not really a good choice, but apparently the higher-ups at Fox were considering that for a while. He would have done the action stuff fine, but it would be like, hey, Bob, it's time to get nasty with these claws. I'm the Wolverine, the Weapon X. Really glad they didn't get him. Other side of the coin, Edward Norton
I'm down with this.
Really good actor. I can't really picture him. He'd be like, "Hey, bub, it's time to open up those tin cans.
Hey,
this one's for you, Morph."
I mean, so
Yeah.
I guess if you're going to compare him to the Hulk, that's a better idea. I don't know if he really fits either way.
He's really not a good choice at all, I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, in American History X, he was kind of a badass or just a bad ass, but yeah, not really an ideal choice. Famously, Glenn Danzig, lead singer of the Misfits, weird, short, hairy, heavy metal man who actually models himself a bit after Wolverine. There's this wonderful old clip of him where he's on tour and he's just reading comics and he's trying to look all badass and he's like, and they're like, "Hey Glenn, what are you reading?" He's like, "It's called Wolverine. This is a comic about this guy. He's got knives in his hands. It's awesome. He's always killing people. It's real violent." He's trying to make the comic sound really cool. And then, apparently, he turned down the role. They did kind of approach him about it. And then later on in an interview, he said that he thought that Hugh Jackman played it too gay.
What? Dodged the bullet there, didn't we?
Yeah, anyway. Going further on this, kind of interesting, obviously Patrick Stewart, another huge character, playing Professor X. Patrick Stewart was a fan favorite from the get-go. Bryan Singer fought tooth and nail, no pun intended, to get him as that character. But two other contenders were Terrence Stamp and Christopher Lee. Terrence Stamp, I think, would have almost even been better than Patrick Stewart. He's just a fantastic actor. Christopher Lee, I feel like, would have just been too evil.
Yeah.
To me, my X-Men. The tower is rising in the east. Anyway, weirdly enough, not quite as weird as Michael Jackson, who apparently wanted the role.
As Professor X?
Michael Jackson wanted to play Professor X.
Did he think his character's name was Professor Sex with chimpanzees?
I don't know what he thought, but I mean, I feel like he probably, of all these people, had read the most X-Men comics, given his, weird proclivities.
That is so... No.
But yeah, so on the subject of Jackson's, weird segue here, obviously Halle Berry played Storm. She was kind of like, she was a name at that point. Between X-Men 1 and 2, she won an Oscar for Monsters Ball, so they were like, we need to give her more lines in 2. That's important. She's an Oscar winner. They almost got Angela Bassett and Janet Jackson. Those were possibilities to play Storm.
Wait, we almost had two Jacksons in this movie?
Almost. We almost had Storm and Xavier being brother-sister. Almost in the very, very loosest definition of that word.
Wow, we could have had like Tito as Sabretooth.
Yeah, that would have been just awful. But yeah, Angela Bassett was apparently their front runner, but she was too expensive to get for the role, so they opted not to have her.
Wow.
Then of course they could have had Mariah Carey as Storm. That was apparently something that somebody actually considered. You pointed out the weird irony here.
Yeah, she actually can't go anywhere from her trailer to the set without somebody carrying an umbrella over her in case sun gets on the top of her head. Like, this is a woman that threw a coffee because it was too hot once, and her voice is worth more than the entire establishment.
Yeah. So, for all the things they've gotten wrong in the X-Men movies, I'm really glad that Mariah Carey never played Storm.
Yes.
On that note, Anna Paquin obviously played Rogue. That was kind of a huge role for her. They considered pretty much everybody else: Sarah Michelle Gellar, Natalie Portman, Rachel Lee Cook, Kirsten Dunst. It's kind of funny that Kirsten Dunst and Natalie Portman both wound up in X-Men movies. Rachel Lee Cook was their number one choice, but she wound up being too expensive or whatever. And then finally, Bishop was almost going to be in the script. David Hayter was talking about how he just wasn't really familiar with the character, but you will never guess who really wanted to play him.
Who?
I'll give you a hint.
Shaq!
Yeah, you can read 4 letters. Great job, Brian. But no, seriously, like I love going deep into weird behind-the-scenes stuff. There's always that kind of famous like, who almost played Han Solo? Oh, well, everybody in Hollywood, basically.
Did they ever do Bishop?
They did Bishop briefly in Days of Future Past.
That's right.
We made fun of his costume last week on this show.
I don't watch this show.
Yeah, that's true. Anyway, we saw Logan. I thought it was a really good time. I'm curious to see what they do with Wolverine because, let's face it, it's 2017. Superhero movies are the biggest thing on earth. Hugh Jackman might be taking off the claws or sheathing them or whatever the hell you call that. But they're probably going to recast Wolverine at some point, and that's going to be tough for whoever that person is.
Yeah.
Let's hope it's Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Nice work, Max. I feel like there's, the X-Men movies are all over the place, but they could have been a lot lower all over the place had some of those casting decisions came true.
Yeah, no, it's a really interesting casting process too, because if you look at it, they kind of pulled from all corners of like, not really fandoms, but they got this ragtag group like, Xavier obviously won over Trekkies. They got Tyler Mane to win over wrestling fans. Hugh Jackman at that point was doing a lot of Broadway, so they got theater nerds in there.
Right.
It's kind of like they gathered this like you know, they gathered an audience of just everybody who goes to the movies for different reasons, and then they made this movie using all those people.
I think the crazy thing too is you take people like Hugh Jackman and you take people like Patrick Stewart especially. I mean, this is like a classically trained theater actor. That he could be doing movies that win, you know, Emmys every single year. But the idea of him playing Professor X for 15 years is really just dedication to the franchise. You know?
No, I mean, those are the kind of guys. This is what I always love about. I mean, like the Harry Potter series, for instance, has all these just classically trained actors, and they're just like, yeah, this is a silly children's series, but you know, they commit to the role and they find an angle that works for them, and they really work on it. One thing that's kind of amusing is Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen. They actually, I don't know if they'd met before, but they got to become friends making X-Men. Which is kind of fitting with you know, Magneto and Professor X. Also, their whole thing where they're always playing chess. Neither one of them knew how to play chess before filming those movies, so they had to bring in a chess master to train them on that. And then they became like BFFs, and I think Ian McKellen actually ordained Patrick Stewart's wedding. So like, wow, that's ridiculous.
That's fantastic. Thanks, Max. Thanks for that crash course on X-Men.
Yeah, I love talking about X-Men. It's one of my favorite things to talk about.
We have a few minutes left in the show. We figured we'd check in on Twitter and do some quick Q&A stuff. Usually like to bake in a little more time than this, but this is just a wild, crazy show. You can breathe.
Yeah, we did it.
That's great.
I wish we could show you guys how we make this show sometimes. It's like, it's
really nuts.
It's us frantically photoshopping stuff I mean, what, 45 minutes ago?
Yep.
No, we were still live hour and 15 minutes ago. Yeah.
We got a question from Tiger Bauer on Twitter. He says, what amiibo unlocks the classic Zelda outfit? So this stuff's weird. If you bring in all these sort of, so let's see, Sheik, every Link they ever made, Ganon, the Wolf amiibo will bring in the Wolf into the game.
Is that an always thing? Like, will that always bring the Wolf in?
So all of the Wolf will always bring the Wolf in. All of the other Zelda amiibos, I believe all of them, will bring in some variation of different sort of randomized items accompanied with the same sort of thing. So if you scan Zelda, you get a bunch of herbs and stuff like that, and you also get a treasure chest. So doing this, I actually got like a Toon Link tunic, Toon Link hat, and the yellow boomerang from Wind Waker, which is really cool. But I haven't been able to replicate it. Scanning the Ocarina of Time one brought me Epona once.
Yeah, I've got 2 Eponas now. They're running around all over the place.
But I was like on an island.
Yeah.
And then I traveled somewhere.
I drowned a horse.
Yeah.
No, I think it's so cool the way Nintendo did this. I've always been sort of like, okay, what's the deal with Amiibo? Obviously, they're fun for some stuff, but this is the first time I've been like, oh, I get it. I love the fact that they are reusable. The fact that you can go over to your friend's house and use his Amiibo, go over the next day, use it again. It's not like, oh,
technically infinite, right?
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, like they're scattered all over the IGN offices, so I'm just bringing in my Switch and just boop, 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 you know, getting big treasure chests full of meat.
Did you say that you have an Epona running around somewhere? Is that a thing? So I just gotta go find her?
No, I mean, I scanned that Amiibo twice.
Okay, but then did you put it in a stable?
Yeah, at one point. You can just call, I don't know, I went to the stable and they were like, yeah, Epona's not here, he's running around somewhere. I was like, oops, I lost my horse. Anyway, yeah, we have fun making this show. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Yeah, we do this every week. If this is your first time watching, thank you. If this is your 27th, I'm sorry. And yeah, we'll be back next week, same time. And what do we got coming up next? Parkhurst? Anything?
Nothing up next. It sounds like we have a stream on Monday.
Okay.
We are playing Teleprompter 2017. There's actually nothing in there yet.
Yeah.
There's a stream on Monday. It's a surprise game. Maybe it'll be Half-Life 3.5.
Yeah.
Life.
Not.
No, it's not.
All right.
I don't want to lie to you.
Anyway.
Thank you so much for watching. I'm Brian Altano. That's Max Scoville. IGN is the place to find all of your awesome Nintendo Switch coverage, Resident Evil, everything else.
Oh, they're shutting us off. Yeah.
See, we only pay for an hour, so I gotta go put coins.
There's a dude on the bicycle out there that's running our generators.
Yep.
Keeping the walkers at bay. Floodlights.
Have a great afternoon, evening, night, morning, breakfast, or summer, everyone.